Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing how to make your ex miss you. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing how to make your ex miss you. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you need your ex to miss you. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 simple steps to increase the chance of your ex missing you. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is vanish. So when we look into the dictionary about what vanish actually means to disappear or stop being present, especially in a sudden, surprising way. So we need to be really using that to our advantage if we want to try to reconnect with an ex. So when you've been dumped, you need to understand the dumper mindset, and your ex at this very moment in time has decided, unfortunately for you, that your relationship was not working for them in the long term. They did not believe that this relationship you had together was going to be fulfilling and satisfying enough to work for them going forward. They decided to end the relationship. So at that point, they are believing that they will be more fulfilled moving on a different path. Now, this suggests that they don't want you to be part of their journey right now. And that is absolutely true. They do not want you to be chasing them. They do not want you to be texting them, calling them, knocking on their door, waiting outside where they work. They don't want you to chase them. And if you do, you're going to be chasing them further away. So that is not a good thing to do. However, they are actually expecting you to be doing this. They are expecting you to be doing this because when they ended a relationship, they knew that you didn't want it to end. So subconsciously, at the very least, they know and believe that you want to be in a relationship with them. And this is actually reaffirming their own value. You are pushing them onto a pedestal. They believe that you want them and hence they must be a great or powerful person. So although they don't want you to chase them, and if you were to chase them, that type of behaviour is likely to push them further away, so I do not suggest you do this. They are expecting you to chase them. They are expecting you to be continually reaffirming their value. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. They don't want you to be chasing them because they don't believe this is right for them. However, they do almost subconsciously enjoy the fact of you reaffirming that value, even though it does not increase the chance of you reconnecting. So you need to make sure you're not doing that. And that is where vanishing comes into play. So let's look again at that dictionary definition. Vanish, to disappear or stop being present. So what can you do regarding a breakup? Well, you implement my version of the no contact rule. So if you're not aware of the no contact rule, this is something that lots of people suggest you implement if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back. However, there are many versions of a no contact rule that you can find online, and I believe that my version will give you the best possible chance of success. So I suggest that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell for notifications, and check out my playlist entitled The No Contact Rule, so you can fully immerse yourself in my version of a rule and understand why I believe it will give you that best chance of success. So the core element of my version of a no contact rule is, in most instances, there are a few caveats, but in most instances, if you have been dumped, you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. That is the disappearing perspective. That is the stop being present, especially in a sudden, surprising way. And it's sudden and it's surprising because your ex-dumper is expecting you to beg, is expecting you to plead. So if you don't do that, if you vanish, if you concentrate on your own life journey, that type of effect on your ex-dumper is going to be surprising and shocking. And it can develop eventually into potentially them missing you. Now, there are more elements to this, and I'm going to be speaking about them, of course, as we move through today's podcast. But vanishing is absolutely crucial. Remember to disappear or stop being present in a sudden, surprising way. Now, of course, this has to be a positive way. I'm not trying to suggest that you scare your ex. I don't want you to be behaving in a way where they're worried about you and they're not sure where you are in a negative, concerning way. I don't mean it like that. I just mean stop being present in their life. They've made a choice to end the relationship. At that point, you have no reason to be contacting them. So I'm not talking about you doing anything crazy, trying to worry them, nothing scary. I'm just saying they've ended the relationship, accept their decision, and never contact them again unless they contact you first. Again, there are some caveats to the rule, and that's why it's so important that you understand your exact perspective. And if you want help trying to learn your perspective, understand your position, and increasing the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your specific unique circumstances. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast about how to make your ex miss you. And point number 2 is enhance. So when we're trying to make our ex miss us, we need to be a better person than they remember. It can be a somewhat unfortunate realization that the person we are right now was not suitable for the relationship which has ended. It doesn't mean you're not a good person, but we have to understand they've ended the relationship and we can't be exactly the same person for them to want to reconnect. We need to grow, we need to enhance. I always suggest growing every single day, improving yourself every single day, so you are a better person today than you were yesterday, and a better person tomorrow than you are currently today. You need to be doing something every single day which makes you a more fully rounded 3D person. Now, this could be something elaborate, and maybe you sign up to a college course that's going to take 2 years to complete, but it could alternatively be something very simplistic that you can learn, grow, or improve today. Something that you start today and end today, and you now know what to do. It could be something very small, or it could be something very big. I would suggest you have short, medium, and long-term goals where you are growing, improving, and enhancing every single day. Now, this is really, really important, because if you want your ex to miss you, you need to be enhancing in a way so that you are a version 2.0 of yourself, and that is what the aim has to be. You were a version 1 when your ex ended a relationship, and you need to become a version 2.0 to reconnect. Now, one of the biggest concerns is that when somebody has been dumped, they can often and obviously go on a downward trajectory. Now, this is something you need to stop ASAP, because the biggest concern you will have is not becoming a version 2.0, but instead becoming a version 0.5, a version 0.5, a version of yourself which is even worse, you could say, than the person they dumped. And what I mean by that is that you are the same core person, but maybe you've lost all your confidence, you've lost all your self-esteem, you become extra needy, extra desperate, your mental health plummets, and perhaps you stop doing the positive things that you were doing in your life. Maybe you used to work out a lot, you stop doing that, maybe that affects your weight, you become an unhealthy weight, that makes you more physically unattractive. Perhaps you start taking bad substances. Again, that's not going to help you. That will make you a version 0.5, a version 0.5, rather than the version 2. So that downward trajectory needs to be kept in check. You need to make sure that you're not going downwards. So initially, just stabilize where you're at. And then when you feel ready, grow, improve, and enhance. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about how to make your ex miss you. And point number 3 is reappear. Now, when I talk about point number 3, it's important you understand what I mean when I say reappear. I don't mean that you text your ex. Again, my version of no contact rule showcases that, except for a very few caveats to this rule, if you've been dumped, you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. So this isn't about you enhancing and then reaching out to your ex and saying, hey, look at me, look what I can do, look at my new skill set. No, it's not about that. It's about reappearing by presenting yourself in ways where your ex can passively find out about you. So examples of this could be social media. Imagine you were dumped, you took some time out from social media, and then when you're ready with some positive things to post, you reappear. You're posting photos of yourself where you look fantastic. You're posting information about you which looks incredible. You're posting statements, you're posting statuses, you're posting things which showcase you as somebody who has a lot of ambition, a lot of increased confidence, and someone who, if your ex-dumper was to find out about this, would be somewhat intrigued, somewhat jealous, and potentially starting to miss you. So if you're connected with your ex on social media, then of course they will see this very easily. But even if you're not, I'm sure you have friends of friends. I'm sure you have family members who know your ex. Your ex-dumper is likely to find out about this anyway, even if you're not connected on social media. I always say that dumpers have an almost uncanny ability to somehow find out about their dumpee. So if you post things online which are positive, you can almost accept the fact that sometime in the future, your ex-dumper is likely to find out about this. Even if you don't go on social media, your ex-dumper could find out about your improvements, again, by friends of friends, family members, those types of situations where people see you in the flesh, they meet up with you, friends, family members, and they see the improvements. They see you physically, they speak to you and understand mentally where you're at. They just feel that you have a more positive vibe. And these things can get back to your ex. You don't have to say to these people, please tell my ex. In fact, I would suggest you don't. Just let them passively tell your ex the information. If you live fairly local to your ex, you might even pass them by. You might not notice, but you might walk by them. You might notice them and think, okay, what do I do here? I would suggest if you see your ex in the street, smile and keep going on your path. Don't wait around for a chat unless they call you over. But quite possibly if you live local, you might not even notice them. You might be walking along and not even realise, but your ex has spotted you and thinks, wow, look at my dumpee. I never remembered them looking like that before. And that could all be down to the hard work you've done in the enhancing stage, where perhaps you've been living a healthier life, which has enabled you to look more physically attractive. These are the ways that you can reappear. And reappearing is the moment that your ex-dumper can truly start to miss you. Even if your ex doesn't see you, doesn't hear about you, doesn't get any information with you, if you implement my version of a no contact rule, that is going to be pulling on them from the very beginning by using the definition of vanish. Behaving in a way where you're disappearing from their life in an unexpected way is going to increase the intrigue, and if and when their life isn't going the way they hope on their new path, they will self-reflect. And if you've behaved in an appropriate way, if you've not chased them away further, this is when they can miss you. So even if your ex doesn't see or hear about your improvements, my version of a no contact rule alone has been proven to grow the intrigue of dumpers who eventually may reach out. Now there is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back. Nothing works 100% of the time and nothing fails 100% of the time. But what we want to be doing is increasing your chance of success rather than reducing it. And if you want to get back together with your ex, you need your ex to miss you. You need to vanish, you need to enhance, and you need to reappear. And even if you don't reconnect with your ex, doing these 3 steps will put you in a much better position to find a new connection who can be even better than your ex. So it truly is win-win. You either get your ex back or you can find somebody even better. Remember, with or without your ex, you will have a positive future. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.